shoulder spring loading, which everybody forgets. If we just turn the shoulders, they're not sprung loaded. They lift them, so lift them. So if they lift, how am I going to get them back? There's no spring loading in my shoulders, so I've got to virtually drop them and wait for them and wait for the body. And that's why we all get into a little bit of trouble, because we're totally dependent on timing for that instead of natural movement. Natural movement. If I load it the same, it should unload the same. Okay, so one thing that we didn't put on that original video, which is probably 15, 20 years old, that video, we put the spiral of the body working up correctly. Spiral, we can do exercises to do that, which we talk about. And then the shoulders don't load properly, or they don't spiral. And what do I mean by spiral? Well, we need the shoulders to have a little bit of spiral movement in them, left and right. So as we're going back now, the body's spiraled up, but also I've got extra spiral in there, so I've got extra loading. So I've got extra muscles loading. And then from there, because they're stretched to their, if you like, maximum, they're unloading at the same time as the body's turning out the way. So all I've got to do really is unload it correctly, and then I'm going to get the implement moving pretty quickly in the direction that I want. I'm not trying to force it in a direction, because when I spring load it up, my arms are spring loaded to come down. It's a bit like your gear stick on the car, they're sprung loaded. You know, when you put it in, it spring loads and then you move it. So the same thing, I'm trying to spring load the shoulders so they're actually going to work correctly. Turning and turning, which I certainly was taught when we started, is great, but it needs an awful lot of timing. Even if everybody here says, oh, I can't spring my loaded shoulder, everybody can. But you can only spring load them to your natural ability. Alright, so yes we can. I can spring load them to there, and I can spring load, that's about my maximum, and I know they're in the right position every time. So all of a sudden I can go halfway back sprung loaded, and they'll still spring back, all the way back sprung loaded. I've got the body loaded, the arms loaded, and then I've got the implement in my hand, bang! And all of a sudden I've got the body turning and the arms coming down. Why? We need to spring load them up. Why? Because the ball's on the ground. If it was just a turn and a turn, I'd need the ball teed up this high on my chest, turn and a turn. So what I want is, I want the shoulders sprung loaded, and that's why when you see a lot of players, they actually load the shoulders up. Now my shoulders want to come down there. You can see from there, the club's just going to move. I'm not moving my hands, boom, from there. I'm making the actual machine work more efficiently all the way to the implement, which is just a lump of metal. So I'm now going to move it correctly with the correct muscle structure. And as we said, a lot of players say, well, I can't do that. You can all do it to your own ability. So, you know, somebody from here, you know, just going a little bit of spring load in here, and a little bit, then all of a sudden you will get that extra move, and you won't have to try and hit at it, which is where we see everybody. We move in the club with the muscles into a position where we're creating natural forces on our muscles to create natural forces on the club, to create natural movement of the shoulders, which will create natural movement of the club. And then from there, all we're going to do is get the wrists to work properly, because as I spiral them up, not only am I loading my shoulders with a decent grip, I'm going to load my hand position as well. And we're going to get that real quick speed that you all hear when you actually do, you know, this. And then you get spiral, arms come down, wrists in a position, bang, bang, every time. So if we've just turned and turned, I haven't loaded anything, so I've now got to find an unloading, which is all about timing, manipulation. So what I mean about that is, when we watch somebody hit one arm shots, most of them are only just standing there and they're hitting at it. They're hitting at it. You know, all right, my hand-eye coordination's good, but from there, I have no idea where that ball's going to start, how it's going to fly, and where it's going to finish. Because I've just, like most people on the range, I've hit at it. And I've hit it, all right, I've hit it. But now, what we're saying is, what we need to do is to say, right, get the body in position, move the spring loading, let the spring unload and move down. So from here I'm loading the body, I'm loading the arm, and then all of a sudden I'm getting the ball going in the right direction with the correct flight and the correct spin. And all I'm doing there, I'm not hitting at it, I'm letting my muscles do the work, which then allows the wrist joint to do its work, and then we get that natural speed at the bottom. Okay?